there's people out there thinking, I wonder what the meaning of life is. And I'm going to tell you, and you don't need... I'll tell you for free, mate. I'm going to tell you in less than 3 minutes. So, lock in. Right. Firstly, we're born into a fallen world. So it's never supposed to be like this, but this is where we're at. And things are not good and it's not pretty. But this is the current chapter that we're in, right? Deal with it. When God made us, he gave us free will. Okay, so he wants us to come to him genuinely. He wants us to have a relationship with him because we choose to. He doesn't want it to be forced. We're not slaves and we're not robots designed to serve him. There's an angel in heaven called Satan, Lucifer, however you want to put it, mate, I don't care, right? And he turned against God because he thought he could be God. Right, so it all kicked off, Satan gathered other angels to go against God, and mate, there was a war in heaven, a proper spiritual war. You don't get your head around that. Okay, but God being God, the kind of God he is, he should have just flipping burnt him to a crisp, but he went, no, right, and he cast him down, okay, to where we are now, into this realm. Okay, so he still exists to this day, and he has been given rule over this earth. So us lot down here, we're going to choose God, or we're going to choose the one that tried to overthrow him. Overthrow, is that a word? Overthrown him. Oh, right, you get what I'm saying. Right, so we had a choice. We have a choice. We have a choice. Who are we going to choose? How do we want to live? Right, how do we want to live? Okay, the people before us have sinned, have gone against God. Okay, so you need to understand, like, we're born into... a cursed generation. There's issues with there's consequences to sin, and we're born into it. Right, so this kind of fairy tale belief that you've got about life, forget about it. Okay, once upon a time, maybe, but forget it, mate. We're born into a battlefield, mate. This is like World War flipping 3, but for our spirits, for our souls, mate. Okay, and currently, we're losing, right? We're being harvested. We're born into, a system that's been perfectly constructed and everything's set in place in order for us to remain on a conveyor belt like a little piggy in a slaughterhouse, mate. Okay, to eventually feed Satan, Lucifer, to eventually give our spirit to these demons, and they feed off it, mate. We're an energy source, mate. This is what it's all about, lad. Right? We're being harvested, yeah. Okay, in the spiritual realm, there's demonic forces that feed off low vibration. They feed off fear. They feed off, all these bad things, all these crimes that get committed. Okay, there's entities that are feeding off it, mate. Okay, so the agenda that's being pushed on the world is making all these low vibrational things, a part of life, lad. Right? That's why things like 9/11 happen, and like big catastrophes, because it's like it's a big low vibrational thing that changes the vibration of the world, that keeps all these entities alive. So you're a little piggy in a slaughterhouse being harvested on this conveyor belt, mate, spiritually, and the only way you can break free is with God, by turning to God. And I'm telling you now, mate, you'll break out of there, little piggy. Only with Jesus Christ can you separate yourself from the path that you're on, which is going to hell. You're feeding the enemy. Okay, we're a battery at the end of the day. If you're thinking, flipping at you, that's a bit grim, where is God? He's looking down, mate. He's looking down and saying, right, this is your last chance. Who wants to come? Pick who you're going to choose. You're going to choose the devil or me. I'm watching and I'm here to help. Choose God today. He's there. You need to understand, we turned from him in a past life. Our ancestors turned against him. He's given us a chance. Trust me, we caused this mess, and it's up to us to stop this now, okay, and be the one that turns to God and makes a